mix the color to apply. This is your pre-pigment or your filler formula. And again, we are replacing what you have lost by lightening. We are replacing the red orange. And so I have a mahogany shade, which is red and copper, and there's a little bit of brown in there as well, but this is going to give it a softer look. We're going to a plum, and I had debated a little bit about whether we needed to go to the red, but I felt at the 6th level red it would be a little too much red in your plum. So we're going with mahogany instead, so we're using a 5-star 5 to replace the red and orange pigment that has been lost in your hair from lightening. And without replacing that, you will not get a hold, your color to hold. So I'm mixing a very small amount because we're just doing that one section. For you, you're probably going to have to use about 30 cc's. I'm going to mix 5, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cc's. Then I'm going to add 5 cc's of water, so it's equal water and equal color. There we go. Now this is another trick. I don't use my brush to mix this, because if you use your brush, you're going to get that color deep into these bristles. So it's very important. We only want this color to get onto the edges, the very ends of your bristles. Otherwise, you're going to be getting too much of a dye load. That's what they call it, a dye load. So you're going to mix this with your fork, and I've actually put a fork in your kit. So you're going to mix it with your fork. And you could also shake it. You can put your lid on your shaker and shake it. You can do that too. So since this is mixed with water, you're only really getting the alkalinity that's in here and the pigment and the conditioners. And one of the good things for your hair is that this particular color has 3 different oils in it that will really help condition your hair. And you'll find those 3 different oils listed on the website when you look up Permanent Perfection, our permanent hair coloring system. So what we've done is we've gotten all that mixed together, and you can see it's mixing up quite well, and it has a nice oily look to it because that's the oil in it, and that's going to be very beneficial for your lightened hair. Okay, so now we're going to go right back and start all over again, and we'll show how to do this. I'm going to make sure that my brush is as dry as I can get it. It's just water, so I'm going to make sure it's really, really dry. It's dry, and I'm going to start with my dry brush method, and I can go right here like this, right along. And if a dark hair gets in it, don't worry about it. So that's all that I really have on my brush. I can even remove some of it because I want it to be very, very little. So I'm going to be dry brushing this in. And I've got gloves for you in your kit. I don't have my gloves with me, but there's gloves in your kit. So again, very little on here. I just want to put a little tiny bit on these ends so the hair still looks dry. Next section. And you'll be able, if you don't have your gloves on, you can feel it. If you have gloves on, you won't feel it, and you'll think, have I got enough on? But you probably will have enough on. And you can go over and just mend it all, melt it all together. And again, I want to make sure that those ends have it, because those are sorely lacking color. Wherever you see globs of color, I don't really know what else to call them other than globs. Wherever you see an amount of color, move that out. You don't want any visible color on the hair. What I should say is color product on the hair. This is a technique that our salon uses, and like I said in my email to you, we get a lot of referrals from other salons because they just don't want to do this type of work, because it is tedious, it is time consuming, but it will give you incredible results. And I don't really think that other salons know about this. So Jasmine, this is your secret and my secret, okay? From whoever you decide to share this with to help you apply it. But it is something that very few people know about, but it absolutely works. So like years ago, I had a friend who was a really good cook, and she wouldn't share any of her recipes. And it was because she said, well, if I share all my recipes, people won't come to my house to eat, they'll go to everybody else's house to eat. So I always remembered that, and if you share all your recipes, it might be very nice of you, but you know, those people will then be able to take your clients. So be careful who you share your talent with. Again, it really takes concentration to make sure that your brush is exactly the way you want it. And it's just hard for you, you know, you can't be thinking about anything else. You just have to be thinking about this method, this technique. My brush is so dry that I can go right up here to that, because I can feel there's almost nothing on my brush. But that color molecule is very, very, very minute, and your cuticle is very, very minute, and they really are. It really is absorbing what we're applying. So this, again, I had extra hair that had come out of the mannequin, so it sort of formed that glob. I want to get rid of that glob. There you go. So you just want to make sure that you're not putting any globs. And if you get a glob on, it's not the end of the world, but you're learning a new technique, so you might as well learn it as perfectly as possible. Want to get those ends. You can see a little bit of how this is turning that hair dark. That's the pigment that's gotten in there. So we want to replace that pigment, and it is working. Crisscross, crisscross, crisscross. And you don't have to worry about how much time this takes you. This is not going to damage the hair if it's left on too long. It's not going to not work if you're not fast enough. There's absolutely no time factor in this particular technique. So you can just take your time, don't have to rush. It's easy in that respect. And it's very easy, period. It just is very demanding and exacting. Mannequins lose hair just like people. So if you get some hairs there, just sort of wipe them away. See how it's darkening? I love it. It's filling it. There you go. So you can see where the color is. You can see how it's darkened. And just let it sit. And you're going to apply your color right over top of this. So once you get all this filler in, and now you can really feel the filler in the hair. You can feel it's a little tacky. It feels tacky to your hands. So you know that it's in there. And then just take your color